LvL faithful, another beautiful Friday, day after a game, day after week 6 rivalry week. Very impressed with the play, as I have been all season long. Playoff atmosphere yesterday. I was just completely in shock of the results. We had our only undefeated team get eclipsed, and we had the shakeout going to come down to the final 2 weeks of who will play in what game. Going to give us a little bit of a lore and just rehash of our games last night. We'll start with the ankle breakers and the bricklayers, our closest numbers wise of the games. Ankle breakers took the game 50, bricklayers 46. A Romano-less ankle breakers, which I thought would mean a lot more than it did, because the ankle breakers held it down for him, led by Braden Rayan, a guy that's just been on the radar all year long. He's in the MVP race right now. 18-8 and 3 steals. Completely controlled the game. I mean, kid's smooth with it. Elliott went 13-9, as usual. Had the crowd packed. I think he runs a Montessori school in the side. He's got some well-mannered children that I really appreciate. Jeff had a huge game too. He's kind of a facilitator for them. 7 and 5 assists, 2 boards. And what about Randy Verdine? Putting him in the RKO with 3 points and 14 boards and 2 steals. I share a text message group with Randy, and earlier this week, he kind of broke it down in saying that it's all about the name on the front of the jersey and not on the back. And I think it proves every week with his Tim Duncan-esque performances that he just goes out and does what he needs to make sure his team wins. An interesting stat for their team was they had 0 blocks as a team. So they may be flat-footed old men, but they play like the best as a team group out of any of the teams in the LvL so far. Night in and night out, they're whipping the ball around. Efrain's put together a really good group of guys. He had himself a game. He's probably leading the league in three-point percentage as well. He's got to be up there in the 50-60% range. Dude never misses. Huge for his team. And then on the other side, gargantuan effort by Cole Ferguson, 28 and 15 with 2 blocks. I mean, that's tough when your big guys putting up 30 and 15. And I mean, other than we had Eli, his young brother, he's had some issues getting to the games, work stuff, but was glad to see him out there last night. 10 and 3, 2 steals, 1 block. Will Fussell 2 points, 8 boards, but other than that, there's trickle of stats across the board for their team, but they need that second or third guy option behind the Ferguson boys to really step it up, and they've just been that team that has just been 1 bucket away from being 5-1 instead of 1-5. So going to be interesting to see how they close out the season. I know they don't want to be relegated. So moving on to the next game, we've got the Rockets went for the high score of the night with 70 points against the Wolfpack at 63. We'll start out with the co-player of the week here, Mr. Gravis, with 25 and 7 and 4 huge steals. If there's anybody that is in race for defensive MVP, it would have to be him. He's just put in night out, and he's putting in work on both sides of the court. But I feel like his offense really shined yesterday. He was being aggressive towards the bucket, and he just when he's playing at his top level, man, he's one of the best in our league. Sammy with a nice game of 15 and 7, 3 assists. He's been as solid as they come. Isn't afraid to mix it up with the big guys in there. Always going to the bucket relentlessly. can't say enough good things about Sammy. He gets a lot of contact in there, and he just plays through it, man. He's not one to complain, so I appreciate that. DK, 14-4. Another guy that's just tough on the defensive side, man. I'd be looking for him if it was an all defensive team, if it was me. Biggest game of the season for this guy, Mike West, 7-6, 2 assists, 2 steals, and a block. I mean, he had stats across the board, did the little things for his team, and then round that out with Troy Bolzer with 9 points, a triple bagger of 3-pointers there. On the other side, the Wolfpack had Seth Corcoran, the sniper, lead the team with 22-2. Behind him was Jake Dobbins with 14-16. Talk about another guy that has just put in work this season, and could expect him on an all team of LvL in some capacity. I think he may lead the league in double doubles or be up there with the top guys. Wilson, second game for Mr. Wilson, Chris Wilson, he went 8-6, and another all defensive star here is Decarius Butler, went for 11-4. Looked like he was really feeling himself, and he had 4 steals too. I think that's his multiple 4-steal game. Again, just a guy that's relentless and plays through contact. There's a lot of close calls out there. D does a really good job of just playing the game and not letting the refs or the other team or the situation shake him or rattle him. And he's one I'm watching to say, I mean, if you're talking all defensive guys, he's one of those lock-up guys that, has done his fair share and could see some nomination at the end of this year. Then we'll go ahead and talk about the number 1 heavy hitter game of the week. It seems like either the Dukes or the 409ers every week are some of the heavy hitters here, heavy hitter games. And we got the 409ers eclipsing the undefeated Dukes of Lumberton, 63 409ers, Dukes 56. Start out with the co-player of the week as well. So we had 2 co-players of the week. We had Gravis and we had Cade. Harmon pulls down the player of the week. He's been in the mix for MVP, though he hasn't had his player of the week shine. He missed a game or 2 at the beginning because he cut his hand, but he's back in it. And, I mean, talk about knocking some shots down. He's went 27-6, 2 steals, a thunderous block. I think if you put it on scale of who had some of the nastiest blocks in the league, you'd have to put Cade up there. Watley doing what he needs to make sure his team wins. He was leading the league in points before this game, but he decided it was a dish night, and he went 12-8 with 5 assists. And that's just another guy. I see 180, just playing through contact, a lot of close calls. He's aggressive on offense, and sometimes he, makes contact with people and has to play through it. And he did just that. I see a superstar in the making there for Watley. Gabe Williams, another huge game, another guy I really like to watch play and enjoy reffing because he gets in there with the big guys. He takes contact. He doesn't complain. 6-5. And then George Williamson, the Vider legend, as they said on the mic yesterday, 11-8. So another tough outing for the 409ers. Pulled it off, beat the Dukes. Dukes were a little shorthanded, but I see that their team is centric on a few players, and the stats, say as much. Trey leading the league this week with 34 points and 14 boards, 3 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. His cohort and running mate, Devin, the Vider Spider, 10-12, 10 points, 12 boards. Felt like he just couldn't get it going on offense. The 10 points is just from his relentlessness, but he was hustling, and again, you want to talk about an all-defensive guy. I got my eye on him. And then Levi Eds had a game with 5-4. From there, man, there's a lot of lower tier stats on their team. So it's like there's a huge fall off on the undefeated Dukes. I'm hoping that coming into the last 2 weeks of the season, the most important games, somebody on the team's going to step up and be that second, third, fourth option because their team needs it. As you guys know, Grubbs is MVP leading via Vegas. Thoughts here saying that Vegas thinks he's going to be the favorite right now. I think he leads, or he's in the top 5 in the main statistical categories in LvL right now. So there's no other guy that is in the top 5 of each category. So talk about a guy that touches all facets of the game. Rarely would I give a notch on the belt for anyone in a losing effort, but I have to give a notch on the belt to Trey this week for the loss. Another guy that gets a notch on the belt in a losing effort is going to be Cole Ferguson. I forgot to mention that earlier, 28-15. So those two guys both earn their notch on a belt in a losing effort. I know, the point is to win the game, but if you're putting up numbers like that, man, somebody else on your team's got to step up, and that's just the reality of it. I know that somebody's going to answer this call. Going into week 2, rivalry week 1 was incredible, super valiant efforts. Week 7, the second week of rivalry week going into championship week, huge implications here. Just to break this down for you, we've got an opportunity to see our Dukes of Lumberton, if they win out, play either the 409ers or the Ankle Breakers. They're matched up against each other on Thursday. So it's a win or go home situation there. If the 409ers win, then it'll come down to point differential between the two. So like I told you guys early in the season, it really does matter. Show no mercy. Get as many points as you can. Win as big as you can because it's going to come down to point differential on this. So, I hate to see the end of the season round out to point differential because I know some team will feel like they got slighted, but that's the way of the road, and that's the reason we keep stats and the reason we, keep up with these metrics so that in the event we have a tie for regular season, it's going to be the top 2 teams in the standings in the win column to play in first and second place the championship game. If there's a tie for any of those, it'll go to point differential, and those top two teams will play. For third place game, it's going to be third and fourth place teams, and then for the relegation, 5th and 6th place, and that will take place in week 8. There's a few more matchups that will determine how that shakes out. It probably will come down to point differential for the relegation game. And that's an interesting one because we're wiping that franchise off the map. Whoever ends up in the last place game and loses that game, their franchise is no more. And if I've got a jersey or I've got some memorabilia for that team, I'm going to burn it on camera, guys. I don't think you want your franchise to get roasted, but that's how we do things here in the LvL. I guess one thing's for sure, if you were on that team, it'll be the first ever team to be relegated. So I guess that's something you could hang your hat on. I wouldn't hang my hat on it, but teach their own. Anyway, guys, enjoy your Friday. It's supposed to be rainy. You better find some gym time. You better find some place to play. If not, you better be dribbling inside, practicing with your kids. I don't know. But week 7 is going to be a massive week for LvL. And I'm hoping you guys use the first 6 weeks of the season to get prepared for this, because it's going to be, as mentioned before, a slobber knocker. And we're just going to see where the chips fall. And then after the last final game, we'll go ahead and give out the bling, the rings, the LvL Get Up Trophy, guys. We have a brass trophy that's bigger than a basketball that is called the LvL Get Up Trophy, and it is taken from there's just a story behind it. I'll maybe share the lore with it later, but as of now, it is a incredible trophy that you will get to hold and hoist and say as your own, and then The rings is what you take home. We'll have championship rings. If you came to the All-Star game, you saw them. They're absolutely fire. That you're probably gonna wear them to dinner for the next few months after we give them out. So anyway, guys, enjoy your day, and be on the lookout for some things dropping today. This is obviously our heavy content day on Friday, so get used to it. And then I just checked the YouTube, the live stream from yesterday, the interactive live stream. For some reason, it hasn't posted yet. So I'll dig into that sooner than later, but it should be on the rip and ready to roll. So it's just probably loading, or YouTube's messing with us. So we're not part of the Illuminati, so we don't get to hit those algorithms yet. But who knows? Commish out.